you guys know me. So today we have a very exciting conference for you, and I told everyone in our group to wear traditional wear, but I think only Aini, Aida. Anyways, today is a special day because it is one of our last presentations for semester 2, unless anyone has a presentation next week. For grade, which is A, and our theme today is ability, acceptance, and awareness. So, what are we going to present to you today? We have drama, you've seen the poster, we have forum discussions, and we've been to a few places that we will tell you about shortly. So, to explain on what we will be doing today, I would like to invite our colleague and my very good friend, the person who actually made this whole thing possible, the leader of our group. Please give a warm welcome to Aini.
And I will be representing Group 3, okay? And I would like to once again to welcome everyone to the Ability Conference 2022. Before we started, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who generously help us to make this event comes together today.
So our first speaker today is a public health medicine specialist, as well as a Deputy Director General of Public Health in Ministry of Health Malaysia. Please welcome Professor Dr. Tan Molly Otayamurthy. Our next speaker is the Director of Department of Welfare from Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, Malaysia. Please welcome Dr. Shivani Xavier. And our third speaker for today's session is a Senior Director of Special Education Division from Ministry of Education Malaysia. Please welcome Dr. Muhammad Azli Fakri. Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard about children with special needs before? Who are those people that is actually characterized under this category? Have you encountered them? And have you encountered any of them in the mall, at the markets, or even the playground when you took your children for outing or a walk? To make it clear, children with special needs is an umbrella term for a wide array of diagnoses, from those that resolve quickly to those that will be a challenge for life, and those that are relatively mild to those that are profound. They may have developmental delays, medical conditions, psychiatric conditions, physically or intellectually disabled, or congenital anomalies. Children with special needs are first and foremost children that have the same needs as any other children. The only difference is the way in which the needs are provided. Without further ado, let us turn our time over to our first speaker. Good evening, Prof. It's a pleasure having you in our show today. Okay, so Prof, can you briefly share with us what are the screening programs that we have in our primary healthcare for child with special needs?
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be present here today for this sharing session. And thank you, Mr. Kamar, for the very concise and informative introduction on children with special needs. Currently, we have very effective growth and development screening programs and tools that have been used widely in our primary healthcare. Our aim is for early detection so that we can give early intervention, as well as we're hoping to bring the best outcome of these children. The M-Chart, which is the modified checklist for autism toddlers, is a screening tool that has been incorporated into our home-based child health record book to ensure that all children get screened at the 18 months, 2 years old, and 3 years old. Okay, initially, most of these ASD cases, they get detected at the age of 4 to 12 years old during their preschool, but somehow with this M-Chat now, we can have detection of ASD as young as 1.5 years old. Okay, when a child fails M-Chat, he or she will be referred to the family medicine specialist for further evaluation. Most of the time, they will do DSM-5, and a care plan will be developed with multidisciplinary teams. And when it's necessary, they will refer the child to a pediatrician, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and even ENT. with a great teamwork of Family Health Development Division, Public Health, MOH, we have developed manuals to provide healthcare and the management of children with special needs according to the developmental abilities. But however, due to the lack of therapies in our country and due to the high demand of it, we've even trained our public health nurses to aid with this need of rehabs.
Right. Such a great initiative by Ministry of Health. However, according to recent studies done by UNICEF Malaysia, they found out that 58% of Malaysians still feel underinformed about disability, while 1 in 3 believe that children with disabilities should be kept hidden, and 42% of Malaysians feel that children with disabilities would be disruptive in a mainstream class. This survey shows that special needs children are still being hidden and excluded from the society. When this happens, it will form gaps between the children and the society. So, Prof, in your opinion, how can we tackle these gaps effectively?
Well, to add on to the survey that you just shared, actually there was another survey done last year to assess the knowledge of public on ASD in Kuala Lumpur. Okay, the findings of the study actually revealed that public knowledge of ASD in Malaysia is still very low. Continual efforts is warranted to improve public knowledge on ASD, while in Malaysia and globally, with increased public knowledge on ASD, it is hoped that the public can actually act as a collective guardians for children with ASD and their families to protect them from against violation of rights. Actually, inadequate knowledge of ASD has led some people even to have cultural beliefs such as karma or religion or even past birth sin to explain the cause of a certain child's disability. Well, Mr. Kamar, this is what we are lacking: knowledge and acceptance in the community. We have even some autistic parents who do intermittently come to the clinic and ask us, Doctor, when can my child be cured? How long will it take for my child to be normal? The problem is, can autism be cured? The answer is no. There is no cure exists for autism spectrum disorder, and there is no one-size-fits-all treatment. The thing is, regardless of how much you explain to the parents, they still have problems accepting. They are often in denial and they somehow fail to accept that it's irreversible, okay? They fail to understand the goal of treatment is actually to maximize the child's ability to function by reducing the ASD symptoms in order to support them in development and learning. So sometimes, even if it's difficult for your own family to accept your disabilities, what about the community? So we definitely have a huge role to play, that is to strengthen the knowledge of our community, to empower them and make them accept the needs of special children. It's just like any other children. I mean, I don't have children of my own yet, but this is what I teach my nieces and nephews. Get them to mingle. Raising your kid with a disability-friendly environment may be challenging, but trust me, it will keep your child more aware, compassionate, loving, and helpful adult. Remind your children that children with disabilities want the same thing that others want, to feel included, valued, and respected. Encourage your child to smile or even to say hi regardless of their disability. I mean, this is what my parents taught me. This is what I teach my nieces and nephews. This is what I will teach my future children. Okay, so empower yourself, empower your family, empower your community. If it's not us, then who else? Let's fix this together. With that, thank you, Mr.
Such an inspiring story of a strong mother who showed pure love and acceptance toward a special child. I'm sure there are many more inspiring stories out there that can be very good example and reference to show that these children are not different. Thank you for sharing the experience. Let's go back to our discussion today. Next, I would like to throw some questions to Dr. Shivani. As you can see in the video just now, the mother mentioned about financial aid that she's supposed to receive from school since a long time. Dato, I am sure your ministry has provided a lot of initiative towards these groups. To start off, perhaps Dato can elaborate more on the role of welfare department, specifically for special needs children, and how do these children and their family benefit from it?
Thank you, Mr. Kamal. Well, there's definitely a lot of aids available from the welfare department. Okay. The social welfare itself is the crux of the social system and development of any nation. However, in a country that aims to become a high-income nation by 2030, Malaysia seems to have foregone developing and expanding its social welfare system other than the cash assistance program. Okay. The Department of Social Welfare, which is under the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, has implemented financial assistance schemes to help the poor families, older persons, and also persons with disabilities. We are all very fortunate to be a Malaysian. There are many aids which are readily available, but the problem arises when there is a lack of awareness. The simplest example I can show you is from what we have just seen in the video. The mother says that the school is aiding her by providing her 150 ringgit per month, and that she has not received any sort of aid from the welfare department. What she fails to understand here is the aid she is giving is from the welfare department. Okay. Once a child or anybody with disability has been registered under the welfare department and they are attending a special needs school, there is an allocation given to the Ministry of Education. Okay. This allocation will be distributed to the particular agency or the institute which is responsible. So it is up to those institutes how they distribute the money to those who are in need, be it monthly, 3 monthly, half yearly, or even yearly. Okay. So what I can say that in this case, what we just saw in the video, the other aid the mother could have applied for is the aid for the caretaker. Maybe their family income are below the means of is below the range of our means of income. So she's still eligible for other aids. But what happens here? Because some might start thinking that the aid given is not adequate. However, all given, we must understand that all aids that are given out are according to their financial and social needs. Okay? The main purpose of this financial assistance is as an income maintenance for the poor family and needy family to fulfill their basic needs, to encourage the productive target groups to work and live independently, and also to improve the quality of life of target groups for better living. So when there is a lack of awareness and people don't know how to apply for the aid or what aids are available, then this creates a gap in our services. In my opinion, I think we'll be able to overcome this issue by improving our promotion and creating more awareness through campaigns, okay? And also by working together by other agencies such as the Ministry of Education, and to enhance our promotion about our welfare aids available via social media, mass media, radio stations, and other means of promotion.
All right. Thank you, Doctor, for a very detailed explanation. I know there is a lot of schemes that are provided by your ministry. Doctor, could you tell us what are the available schemes that has been provided by the government specifically related to children with special needs?
Well, related to our topic today about children with special needs, I would like to enlighten all of you about the types of aids which are readily available. Okay? So for the children's aid, we have a rate of a minimum of 150 ringgit per month or till a maximum range of 1,000 ringgit per month per family. Okay? But this goes by our age range. Usually for 6 years and below, there's an aid available for 200 ringgit per month. For 7 to 18 years old, it's 150 ringgit per month and a maximum aid of 1,000 ringgit per family per month. This aim is actually to help the family, the caretaker, the children, or children with no caretaker, to enable them to continue living with their family and to continue their viability without affecting their growth and development. Okay? This is to empower families involved in giving their fullest in caring for a child with special needs. One of the most basic aid available is the OKU card or the Orang Kurang Upaya card. Actually, this is one of the most simplest aid which we can apply for. The procedure is very simple, where we just need to fill in a JKM 18 form and with the appropriate documents required and submit it to the welfare department. Assessment will be carried out and the means will be tested prior making a decision whether or not the individual is eligible for the OKU card. Okay. However, this issue arises when actually the maximum time taken to process an OKU card is about 1 month. But the issue arises when many people think there is such a hassle, they simply don't get the card and so on. It's nothing more than lacking of documents, which is a very simplistic problem, but difficult to deal with as many of them are coming from the rural area and many of them are illiterate and many of them face barriers, for example, transportation to come to the appropriate place. Okay. So the government has actually estimated that there are about 4.86 million OKUs in Malaysia. However, we might think that everybody has been registered and hold an OKU card, but only 500,000 were registered and hold OKU card from 2019. Okay? It's true that the OKU card comes with various benefits like allowances, equal access to education, employment, public facility, public transportation, and even parking. However, it is difficult for us to reach out to the population and to educate and create awareness on the importance of this. Many of them are still in denial, and many of them still feel that by applying an OKU card, it belittles them in the society. So many individuals might get frustrated and give up along this application process, as there are many documentations needed. Okay? As I mentioned before, this is the major barrier for those who are illiterate and those who have no accessibility to the welfare department. However, these forms are also readily available and accessible online. Okay, I think schools and all other agencies should collaborate and facilitate, and they must be aware and be able to guide those who are in need of the welfare aid. Having said that, we should all work together and provide the best for those in need. Hence, empowering lives and engaging hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I hope the explanation given has opened our audience eyes and they are more aware on how to apply for all the services provided by your ministry, such as the OKU card, the most important. All right, next, let's move on to our third speakers. Education is a passport to the future. Ministry of Education has introduced many initiatives in order to provide special education. So, Dr. Aziz, could you tell us more about the initiative for special needs education development? And maybe you can highlight to us as well, what challenges did your team have to go through in making sure the ideas become a reality?
Thank you, Mr. Kamal. Just call me Aziz. So special education in Malaysia. Special education in Malaysia, I think it has been transformed over the years. Currently, we have 3 types of special. The first one is special education school, whereby this school specifically caters for hearing disability, visual disability, and also learning disability. The second one is the special education integrated program. This is where it is a specific class for special needs students within the mainstream school. And the third one is the inclusive education program. This is where the school includes the special needs student within the mainstream class in the mainstream school. So since 2019, we have implemented the zero reject policy, whereby we want to ensure that no children are left behind in terms of obtaining high quality education. So we can see that since the implementation of the policy, there has been a tremendous increase in terms of students enrolling in our school, special education school. And some of the parents might hesitate to send their children in our school
because they think that maybe the curriculum is of low quality or compromise. So I will say that it is a total misperception. Um, Actually, the three types, the schools are broadly categorized into three types: visual and visual disability and hearing disability. So visual and hearing disabilities, the curriculum is just the same as the mainstream school. It's just the way that the teachers teach is different, or what we call as the pedagogical method. So that one is different based on their needs. Only the learning disabilities, we tailor the education not more into academic, it's more to skills, right? And the teachers also highly trained and specialized in special education school. So the parents need not to worry to send their children in our school. As for the challenges, I can see that the most challenging is our resources, both financial resource and also human resource. The lack of resources will impact the accessibility of our school, and that one will impact the inclusivity of our school. For example, most of our schools today are still not disabled friendly schools, right? The buildings are highly inaccessible. There are no ramps. So we need a huge budget to renovate all of our schools into accessible schools. Therefore, I think inclusive education is the most important, because we want to shift our focus into inclusive education. We want more special students enter the mainstream schools, into the mainstream class, so that we can build an interactive environment between our normal school, between our normal children and also the special children. And I believe that inclusive education is the way forward, as we can teach our children on how to communicate and mingle with each other, so that when they grow up, there will be no discrimination towards special needs person, because we have been developing that mutual respect since they are young. But first, we need adequate funding to renovate our schools. For human resources, we're talking about the training and support program of special education for teachers. It is noted that many Malaysian teachers have not received adequate training or acquired specific knowledge in the special education program. So how we're going to provide quality teaching if not many of our teachers cannot deliver quality teaching? Hence, we have to reform our teacher education program, give more training and awareness, especially among general teachers.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Azmi. So, my last question for you. Since this issue involves not only one organization, but it takes a whole team to make it successful, what do you think of the possibilities of any collaboration between Ministry of Education with other ministries?
So as Prof. Temuli said, the detection program in our country is good. So we want to echo that in our education sector. So I hope that we can devise a systematic early identification and intervention program into our early childhood care and education, ECC. So I'm talking about the preschool education. So because most of the time it is already late when we identify the student as a special needs student. So then when we tell to the parents, we have to deal with the deniers, and then it will be even more detrimental to the learning development of that child. And then we are late for the intervention. So for this, I really hope that our early childhood care and education, ECCE, can collaborate with the public health specialists in terms of developing a systematic identification and intervention program, so we can identify early and intervene early. And this can also help in pushing our education into inclusive education, right? Because if we manage to intervene early, it will be much easier to enroll the special student into the mainstream schools, in the mainstream class, just like what Finland has done. So in Finland, actually the special education schools are getting smaller. because their ECCE program is really good, their intervention is really good, so they can enroll their students, special needs students, into the mainstream class in the mainstream school. So that should be our focus. As for the welfare department, I hope that we can empower our teachers, especially the general teachers, to have adequate knowledge regarding the technicalities of the documentation or application. So as Dato' Shivani mentioned, the bureaucracy and documentation as the barrier of applying the financial scheme. So perhaps our teachers can step in to help in order to smoothen the process. So yeah, that's all.
All right. Thank you, Dato'. I agree that multidisciplinary approach brings more success than individual method. We hope to see more collaborations being made by MOE with other organizations in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached to the end of our sharing session. To conclude our session, children with special needs deserve equal treatment like common people. They should not be hidden and excluded from the society. It is actually our role to provide extra attention and help towards them and show empathy without any discrimination. Besides, while we are focusing on the children, never forget about the caretakers who has to sacrifice a lot while providing equal love to the children. If you ever have any friends with this issue, like Molly, give full strength support to them. Offer any possible help if needed. Be more empathy towards them. I believe by harnessing these positive values on each other, loves are being spreaded and we become more connected to each other. While the government should plan out to provide more and better services towards these children and should promote more collaborations among other ministries as well as non-government organizations. Before I end this session, let us reflect together on this quote, which states that if every child matters, every child has the right to a good start in life. If every child matters, every child has the right to be included. And that is so important for children with special needs. With that, I thank you. Please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for more interesting contents in this event.
Thank you to all our datos, our professors, and Abang Asli. All right, so we have touched on a very beautiful topic actually, children and what they need, and what our government is doing for children with special needs. But when we discuss about children with special needs, or anyone with special needs for that matter, we cannot forget of the people taking care of the people with special needs. Because doctors diagnose, nurses heal, but caretakers make sense of it all. So, like I said previously, I'm going to introduce a few icons. But a very important icon in all of our lives are moms. And moms everywhere are amazing caretakers. So let's give a big round of applause for moms. So, like moms everywhere, this is Zarina Zainuddin. She's an actress, and she has an active Instagram page where she promotes, educates the public on how to raise children with special needs, because she has 2 children with autism spectrum disorders. And on the other hand, we have moms that we don't know names about. For example, this is Miss Kogila Devi. She has a daughter about 12 years old, Yashini, who has undergone neurosurgery and currently has tracheostomy. She lives in Pandan Indah, 8 stories above, and has to carry her daughter down every day in the 8 steps. And imagine feeding someone through a tracheostomy tube. Now, what support are we giving to our caretakers? Because if we do not support our caretakers, what do we have? So now, I'll off the lights first. Suppose off the light. Okay. Must have some feels. All right. So on that note, I would like everyone here today to close your eyes and think back of that one person who's taken care of you all your life and who has never asked anything in return. And especially for someone taking care of special needs, the question we ask them is, what do they need? So let's enjoy this.
I am useless And my brother is stupid. My husband used to be kind. He used to like my smile. Used to think I was smart. I was beautiful. He said he loved me forever. But who knew forever only lasted a second? This is about Ali. Ali used to adore him. He was kind and understanding. He was like a big brother to Ali. But our parents, they got into that accident. They died. And Ali had nowhere else to go. He had to stay with us. Then I saw my husband change. It started small. The little bickerings. The small fights. Then it got bigger. Things got worse when I was fired from my job.
This is your unfinished work. You have been unproductive, you have been so late lately. If you don't like work in this company, better you resign. This is your resignation letter. I don't like you at this place anymore.
Because I am unable to focus. Always distracted at work. Everything is just messed up. Turned out, I am just a useless idiot who's wasting his time and money. Turned out Ali was only such a fun kid when he was not our problem. Now, Ali is just plain brainless, stupid, annoying. And loud. And crazy. Ali's tantrums got worse after the accident. It's because he's sad. I know. But people don't. The neighbors complained. Our friends are gone. Everywhere we go, people stare. My husband blames Ali and me. But what do I do? How do I cope with this? I feel angry. Angry at my husband. Angry at my parents. Angry at Ali. And angry at myself. I feel sad. I feel sad. It's hopeless. Maybe he is right. Maybe I am useless. This is all my fault.
Senyumku tak segara, gerak gaya tidak selincah, mataku tak seayu, kicau burung pun tak semerdu. Namun ku punya hati, juga kaya ku perasaan. Hidupku yang begini, kadar waktu diizin Tuhan. Tidak ku minta lahir ke dunia, tidak ku duga cacat begini. Bukan ku minta kasih dan manja, bukan ku rayu bantu simpati.
So, I don't know about you guys. I've never had an experience of taking care of a person with special needs. So this probably is an insight to it, but we will never understand what someone taking care of a person with special needs have to go through. And with that, I would like to thank our drama team for the amazing. All right, so shall we continue? Okay, everyone is like so peace. All right. Now, we are going to present to you a few trips and few interviews that we have done with people in the field, from legislators, from teachers, and we've learned a lot in this experience, because one thing that I've learned myself is how ignorant I've been and taking a lot of things for granted. So to give us more explanation on what happened for these past few months, please welcome Abang Rasul.
Thank you, Jonas. Anybody need any tissues? There's always saying, "Let us do not be sad." All right. Good evening, Dr. Mas, friends and colleagues. I'm here for the third segment of our program. So the third aspect of the take-home core value that we learn from this module is empowerment. A small word, but a big impact on our life and all the people around us. So following up with what was carried out by our forum team and the video team, we managed to carry out a few outreach programs. So we are looking to the field experience to empower those physically and intellectually challenged in the community. So we have conducted 3 separate interviews to gather information from the political, from the academician, and also from the grassroots point of view. So the first segment was about a PhD student. I think those who was involved in outreach remember this. So the only reason I brought this Power Rangers, I will tell you the reason at the end of our seminar. The first segment was a PhD candidate who is autistic and currently enrolled in UAE Gombak. His name is Arif. The second segment is with Prof. Rosita, an economic professor from UIA, talking about eliminating barriers from physical, attitudinal, social, programmatic, transportational, and policy in assisting special needs person. The third segment is with YB Fadina discussing her views about people with special needs. And the fourth segment, this is the most interesting part, was the outreach activities and empowerment with special need education class at Sekolah Kebangsaan UDM Subang, inshallah. Now, colleagues and friends, without further ado, we will start with Arif. Just a little bit of background of Arif. From Arif, we could gather valuable information regarding the challenges he faced from early childhood until his university life. We then managed to interview Prof. Zita, physically channel professor of economics in UIA. He mentioned barriers that need to be removed for a person likely to progress in the future. On physical barrier, Prof. Zita shared her experience growing up in an environment where there weren't many facilities aiding physically challenged people. Gaining admission to primary school during that time was also a challenge, as there was not much awareness of the importance of integrating those with special needs into the society during that time. An example of social barriers to inclusion. Prof. Rita also emphasized that there is a new policy in Rapid KL before this that regards the flight of those physically challenged, but currently this what called stop because of cutting because it was found not to be economic by the Rapid KL. Okay, so this is one example of transportational barriers. Although previously they have this facility, but because of non-economical, it was not there anymore. So, and she hopes that the public have fraternity in Malaysia. First, we will take up this cause through works of advocacy and empower. She, however, congratulated our teams for taking up this topic and making the time and effort to engage her and her team to fully understand their plight and routine. With this, I will like to show you this video.
Yes, you can work on the awareness. Must be also the what do you call it, the apa tu? You must see the apple and the cane. Kan? There's also encouragements or incentives that you give. At the same time, if you don't comply, there must be penalties kan imposed for that kan, because they're talking about rights. Kan? But it's no longer a charity-based approach. It is actually a right-based approach. Kalau kita macam medical model to the disability, they look at disability as a problem associated with the person, kan? Yeah. The person got impairment. If you cannot walk, we'll try to make them walk. You cannot see, we'll try to make them see. You cannot hear, try to make them hear. There's nothing wrong with that, it's good, but not every disability or impairment can be rectified. Yeah. And because of that, you also need the social model. Social model says that yes, a person may have impairment, okay, but it is not the impairment that makes them disabled. It is actually the barriers in the society that makes them disabled. So for me, I may have impairment, I may not be able to walk, but if you give me a wheelchair, I can move. But I cannot move if suddenly there's a staircase. Yeah. And the building tak ada lift and so on. Kan? So I'll be constricted to where I am now. So even though I have a wheelchair, I can move, but I'm not allowed to move because there is physical barriers. I don't understand. We talk about four barriers towards in inclusivity. One's physical barrier, another one is information barrier. Then we have talk about systemic barrier, and also the last one is the worst, attitudinal barrier. Because the policymakers, they are not concerned about the needs of the disabled, then all the other barriers cannot be removed. But once you remove the barrier, you can actually enable the people with impairment. I can move, I can go to the shop, I can go to school, I can go to work, right? Transportation, if accessible, I can go anywhere I want to go.
From all the three segments, ladies and gentlemen, what are the lessons learned? And out of all the barriers mentioned, which one do you think need to be tackled first? You, as the future public health educators, need to decide. Okay, a small recap from all our interviews and the voice transcript.
The barriers to inclusion were attitudinal, number 2 is programmatic, number 3 is social, number 4 is physical, and number 5 is transportational, and number 6 is the policy. On the 4th endeavors of our outreach program, we managed to engage Sekolah Kebangsaan in my house. Special need education teachers, where we empowered them by sharing our finding from the previous 3 segments above. So I will show that is the drawing of the children. We were also to see that the teachers have in-depth knowledge on the subject. We are well trained and able to identify red flags from the school children, but have yet to see a real life success story of Arif and Prof. Rosita. Okay, we have seen the success, but we have never seen the process. How
many
they
special education schools that we have?
I don't want that. I'm not sure. But around
The audience and one of you, all of you check how many schools do we have. Then later you answer. Okay, continue.
okay. So we were humbled to know that our effort effectively motivated them to see their student potential through our project Semarak Kasih, which translated into a flame of love. We let us, yes, yeah, Thomas.
They behave like the one in drama.
We'll show you the video of this. So we let us spend the remainder of the day engaging, motivating the student through various games and activities before finally bidding goodbye. Before we play the video, I would like to invite my colleagues, Joshua, to show the banner that we have done. It's very interesting activities. We did all of this. Yes.
Because of this, all the project you will get more than 9.
So, can you see the video? Thank you, Joshua and Freddie. I stay over here on stage is that the reason I put Power Rangers is that in the future when you see Power Rangers, you remember Arif. This is the reason, because we like to see beautiful things, something that is out of ordinary. So you remember this. Once you see, or your children get the Power Rangers, you will remember Arif and the rest of the special needs children. Do not take my Power Rangers. Okay. Finally, we from Group 3 pledged that our journey towards empowerment will not end here, as we intend to carry the knowledge and experience garnered through this outreach program to be an effective agent of change in the future, advocating love, connectedness, and empowerment from wherever we are in the world. With this, I pass back to Dr. Jonas. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Bang Rusli. Okay, we've covered a lot of things today. We tried to cram a lot in 1 hour. We've covered children with special needs, adolescents with special needs. We've talked to legislators, teachers, and also people with special needs. Now, to take a break before we go to the next segment, just like to play a little game. So for that, I have to invite Aini back on stage and also Mizi and Ratna to handle the games.
Okay, normally we will see who is the fastest in a race, but this time for a change, we see who is the luckiest. Okay, no worries. Very simple question, just a 3 question with a small token of appreciation also. Okay, so are you all ready? Yes. Yes.
Keep question. Keep question.
Oh, the question first. What is the theme of the conference today?
Okay.
Spin the wheel.
Sorry. Want to try? Yes, please.
Yeah, what is the theme of the conference today?
Children with special needs.
No.
Ability and stimulus awareness.
Okay, congratulations, Victoria. So we move on to the next question. There were plenty of achievements by proud Dato' Ras Adiba that make us proud. So name one of it that you remember. Just now we present about Dato' Ras Adiba and any of it, any of achievements.
Sorry, I'm online. Can I answer? She is one of the representative for Paralympic Games and also the representative of all the disabilities in Malaysia. I clear my price later. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, congratulations to all the winners.
Wait. When you speak, you are depending on what? Luck, right?
Yes.
The same goes to this disability. If you have a kid or a brother with disability and you don't do anything, so you just pray that if it come back a good, then he will become. You know, so I hope you will open your eyes. You know? Those luck. You can't put hope on it. You know, it's better that you do something so that it will groom the kids. Okay? Okay, good, very good.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. Okay, so far we've seen how we need to empower caretakers, children, people with special needs, improve the law, this and that. But how are we supposed to empower other people if we're not empowered ourselves? So we need to be the miracle we want to see. So I would like to ask your experience. Have you ever been in a situation where you meet someone with special needs and you just don't know how to act? Right? We get so awkward, as if like, oh, we have to address the disability first before addressing the person. So let's just look at the short video and I'll explain to you on our campaign theme today.
Good morning, Bob. Morning there, man. Morning, Alice!
There's no need to be awkward.
Poor Bob. Like so many of us, he just doesn't know how to interact with people with disabilities.
It's pretty easy, really. People with disabilities are people first.
We need the same things that every person needs, like respect.
Good morning, everyone.
Attention! Okay. Maybe we need to be more specific.
If you'd like to offer me help, let me hold on to your elbow. Don't take mine.
Hey, would you like to take mine?
Sure.
Assistive devices help us to live our lives. They're really important and really personal.
Grabbing them only makes it weird for everyone.
The easiest way to show respect is to focus on the person, not the disability. It's okay. You'll get the hang of it.
So take a deep breath. Relax. We don't bite.
Unless we're really hungry.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello. And if you're not sure what to do, just ask.
Hi. Would you still like to see a menu?
No thanks, but can you please read it to me?
Sure, definitely.
Just treat us the way you would want to be treated, and we'll all be okay.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Alice.
Morning.
Awkward no more. Nice job, Bob. Go forth and be human.
There's no need to be awkward. With that, we'd like you to sign this pledge card today. Because when we go outside, just take a deep breath, relax. It's really not a big deal. See the person before the ability. So please take out your cards and put your name here and pledge to be cool from today onwards.
Yes.
All right. So while you sign that, there's actually one more prize we'd like to give away. Everybody got cards, right? Okay. Who didn't have cards? Okay. Okay, there's another thing here. Do you see the dots below the word be cool? Okay. This is actually typed out in Braille. So the first person who can figure out what these Braille dots mean gets a prize. Go.
Be cool.
No. Huh?
Be human.
No. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually Google the Braille picture. Sorry? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Who? Who was that? Yes. Be kind. So that's our campaign for today. Hashtag be cool, hashtag be kind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of our seminar today. There is one more thing that I would like to introduce you guys. If you see this website down here, this is the website we found while we were preparing, and this is Malaysian Care/directory. So if you have anyone that you know requires any referrals or a place of support, you can go to this website and you can type in your stage and then what specific disability that you would like support for. For example, autism specific disorder, and it will show you in Selangor all the centers that support that specific disability. So that's something that you can empower yourselves with as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we have come to the end of our seminar. I would like to thank each and every one of our team members. So I'll call upon everyone. Okay, one by one. Thank you to Kamarul. Please stand up. Shahini. Hey, keep standing up. Keep standing up. Okay. Professor Ten Moli. Dato Shivani. Abang Abdi. Our drama team, Atika Omar. Our narrator, Atika. Freddy. Raymond. Mariam. Okay, and Farha from Outreach team. Haja, Sukri, Aida, Joshua, Abang Azman, Abang Rosli, Wendy, and also to our miscellaneous team to support the whole process. Yes, Mizi, Ratna, and of course our team leader. Thank you, everyone. So remember, as you go on today, be kind and be cool. That's all from me. And we would like to move on to discussion, but pass on the floor to Dr. Martin. Thank you.
Sorry? Everyone contribute?
Yes, we are.
Each of them.
Yeah, correct.
I think this is the last thing.
This is the start I will do 99.5. All this I hope will be very helpful when you after you graduate, and I hope it also will be very helpful for your life. I hope you will practice public health not only during your working time, but you practice it, you know, the whole life. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any questions from the floor? Yeah.
Actually, we have two points we want to discuss. Can we present it, Dr. Okay, go ahead. Okay. All right. So my question today is, how did you all come to class? Where did you park your car? Okay, so you walk to the class. So this is one of the things that we have taken for granted. So actually, in spirit of assessing if is UM actually disabled people with special needs friendly, we made all social experiment that we would like to show everyone. So is UM actually wheelchair friendly? Let's take a look.
Is when gym. Usually, getting to class is easy for us. I have always wondered, how does someone with special needs get to class? Today, me and my friends will test it out. Is the Faculty of Medicine at UM wheelchair friendly? Getting into the building was a challenge. The elevation at the entrance makes it impossible to get my wheelchair in. Even with assistance from my friends, getting the wheelchair up was difficult. I would love to get something to eat from our cafeteria. Oh no, it is on the 3rd floor. There are only stairs. It looks like there is no way to get to the cafeteria. We finally managed to get to the cafeteria entrance. It is great that there was a ramp to get my wheelchair into the cafeteria. Getting the food was a challenge though. Everything was out of my reach. I'm grateful that someone helped me to get my food into the bowl. Now, let's get to class. I tried getting my wheelchair down using the ramp. The ramp was quite steep. I almost fell. The pavements were also bumpy. My wheelchair had trouble moving, even with help from my friends. The pavement was not suitable for wheelchair to move. In the end, our final block was this step. Getting into the corridor to class will require another person to help me lift my wheelchair. I'm not sure how I would have done all this by myself. Some lecture halls are more accessible. Perhaps switching lecture hall would be more friendly to get to class. In the end, me and my friends managed to get to class. It was an eye-opening experience trying to get around with a wheelchair. It is not as easy as it seems. It takes a lot of practice and effort to get around. I was exhausted in the end, including my friends.
Thank you for having me at the spot. Alright, so our wheelchair accessibility is so bad. You can't even do it with someone helping you. And if you want to think about it, does architecture actually influence health? Yes, there's so much of guidelines happening. But is yours wheelchair friendly? Yes, we actually have a policy university inclusive. We have a disability management services, but can't get wheelchair to class. Why? Okay, actually, we went deep into this website. It's actually a website in UM, and we found this. They actually have a map showing where is actually accessible. You can pick, places that you want to see: ramp, tactile pathway, parking, and where is it? So if it's yellow, means it's halfway there. If it's blue, means it's international standards. If it's red, it's bad. So we focus on Faculty of Medicine, and we ticked on a few things. You see ramp, parking, lift, and toilet. So there is a lift, but it's like, I know where to live also. So this is where you can park. And yeah, what the other thing? You see the parking and rate there? If the parking for handicap is rate, that means it doesn't meet standards at all. So we have something like this going on in UM, but it's still not very wheelchair friendly. Okay, So that's one discussion. Second discussion is something that we all face on a regular basis, doctor-patient consultations. It's something very easy for us, but for us to get the story of our treatment, our diagnosis, what's happening to us, it's going to be very difficult if you cannot hear the doctor, right? So what if you were deaf? In Malaysia, we have a massive shortage of sign language experts. So when you speak to your patients who are deaf, have you experienced that before?
Yes.
How do you speak to your patients who are deaf? By writing down. And how exhausting can that get? Yes, we have read few stories of doctors speaking to patients, expecting the patients to understand their lip movements. Not all deaf patients understand lip movements. All right. One initiative that we found, and I was happy to be part of. It's called the DITE app. The DITE app is an app whereby a deaf patient can book a sign language interpreter on call to go to the GP consultation. So that there'll be a app trying to translate via the son to explain to the doctor, which is useful. And I've been to that trial thing, and we found a lot of improvements as well. But question: being a healthcare provider, what do you think we can improve ourselves to make consultations easier for deaf patients?
Learn sign language.
Learn sign language. Great. But how easy is it to learn sign language? Okay, and in fact, in Malaysia, we have BIM, which is Bahasa Isyarat Malaysia. And fun fact, it's actually developed many years ago in a Penang deaf school by a few students, because every sign language in every country is different. American's different, British is different, Malaysia is different. So you cannot expect a Malaysian a deaf person to understand American sign language. So that is one limitation. Second, how are you going to explain paracetamol, NSAIDs? And that's something else that's different. It's called a medical sign language bank, and Malaysia has not developed that at all. We don't have any medical sign language experts. So, okay, what about terms, terminologies for deaf patients? Do you, in your experience, do you feel like there are certain terminologies we should avoid when we refer to deaf patients? Sorry? Do you think it's okay to call a deaf patient deaf? It's actually okay. Yeah.
Yeah, actually to call, sorry, because I work in that people a lot, so that's what Jonas was doing. So but to call, when you see a deaf patient, you just call them a deaf. They're all happy to call them deaf. Don't call them a deaf mute. Do not call them a deaf dumb. Do not call them hard of hearing, or or hearing impairment. These are not terms that they are fond of. So when you see a deaf, just call them a deaf. That's it. What is this though? It's like this. This deaf people, it's like we have two terminology. One is the medical, one is the cultural one. So when we see that with the capital D, they're actually deaf people who belong to a community. They have their own culture and all that, right? And they also, it's actually linguistic. They have a language of their own, which is called the sign language. Right? So when you actually say a deaf medical needs, basically we're talking about their disability.
Shiroti, I wanted to add also about the hospital-friendly initiative in Denmark.
Yeah. Okay. So the issue is, I think MOH basically government. When we see that patient, I mean, we not really have eye contact. So in my experience, I can sign. So when I see a patient, that patient, I can sign, so I can communicate with them. But the thing is, before I learned the sign language, it was difficult. I do the same thing like how we all we have to write a piece of paper or show a picture, that kind of thing. But the moment you can actually sign and speak to them, you create a bond with them, a trust. It's not to say that you trust you completely and they'll speed up everything, but there's a doctor-patient trust there, and they will actually be open to tell you everything, all their problems and all that. This is by experience. Yeah. So what I feel like in our hospitals and all that, we need to have this DITE is something which is actually a project by Monash collaborated with my BIM. My BIM, if you all can Google on my BIM. I think the founder, right? So the founder is Dr. Anthony Chong. He's actually a PhD holder in himself, and he's from Monash, and he is doing good things. This medical sign language bank is actually being created. This Dr. Anthony Chong together, I mean, he's in one behind together with Monash. They're trying to come up with all those sign language. We call it the SORD, sign word. Sign word is called the SORD, SORD. So they're coming up with all these medical terms where doctors will be easy. All sign language interpreters will be easy for them to actually, like specifically when you're talking about diarrhea or stomach pain, you can actually sign it using that medical sign language. So hospitals has to be deaf friendly. That is my point. That's what I'm trying to say. It's impossible to to train all the healthcare workers to learn sign language, but those who are interested, by all means, please go learn. But what we need is actually a sign language interpreter. So this DITE app is very, very good because what he actually like DITE. DITE is actually deaf in touch. What is the word?
Everywhere.
So if they can, basically this is actually being created for, it is still in the process, it is not completed yet. So it is still, this is actually being created for patients, that patient wants to go see a doctor, and basically for more of outpatient. But so you pre-book a sign language interpreter. So the other day actually we had a test and we run the app. It was quite good actually. Response from the interpreter, the response from the deaf, and the response from the doctors itself. Yeah. So this is something I think MOH should solve.
Actually, you want to applaud in sign language. Yeah. Okay, good job. Thank you, Dorothy. All right, Dorothy was just talking about Dr. Anthony Chong. He's actually from UM. Okay, and I had the honor to meet him that day. He's the first person in UM who's deaf but received his PhD and looked at his achievements: master's degree in linguistics, master's degree in deaf study. I can't even finish master's in public health. And what he said was nice in his article. Most of my teachers were not fluent in BIM, which is Bahasa Isyarat. I could not grasp lessons and relied heavily on notes that my classmates shared. I had to communicate voice to pen and paper. Despite that, he's doing wonderful work with regards to the deaf community. So thank you so much. Okay. Last point of discussion. Anybody can guess what? Okay, give you a clue. Our Minister of Health is coming up with the white paper. All right, so the white paper is addressing 4 areas. Let's focus on the first, equitability of access. So it's not going to discuss lah. We're going to go home after this, but something for you to think about. What is your suggestions to insert into this white paper? All right, Lima looks so what is that? Okay, yeah. So please think about it when you go home. On that note, I would like to end our session today. Thank you so much, and remember to always breathe, relax, be cool, and be kind. Good night, everyone.
Okay, very good. Well done. Okay.